Have you ever woken up from a dream that felt so real you had to take a second to remember where you were? Or, one that was so completely bizarre you couldn't even begin to explain it? Well, every single night, our minds basically become movie directors, creating these incredible stories just for us. So what's really going on in that private cinema inside our heads? Let's pull back the curtain on the science of dreams. It's something every single one of us does. The second we fall asleep, our brain doesn't just shut down. Nope. It actually powers up, but in a totally different way. It becomes this master storyteller, just spinning these yarns without any input from us. And these stories, they can be absolutely anything, right? One night, you're just reliving a boring conversation from work, but the next, you're flying over a city made entirely out of jello. That unpredictability is exactly what makes dreaming so wild and fascinating. But then, poof, just as fast as they show up, they vanish. One minute, the dream is perfectly clear, and the next, it just dissolves like smoke, leaving you with, I don't know, just a weird feeling. It's this sort of ghostly quality that makes them so tricky to hold on to.
Okay, this is the big one, isn't it? For literally centuries, people have been trying to figure out what their dreams mean. And while science doesn't have one single perfect answer, it does give us some really powerful theories about why our brains put on this amazing show for us every single night.
So before we can even get into the why of dreaming, we kind of need to understand what's actually happening inside our brains. Like, what's the machinery behind all this magic? Let's pop the hood and take a look.
The main stage for our dreams is a phase called REM sleep. You've probably heard of it. It stands for rapid eye movement. This is when our brain activity just goes into overdrive, and it's where we have our most vivid, most memorable, and often most bizarre dreams. It's basically primetime TV for your brain.
Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting. During REM, you've got this perfect storm for dreaming. Your brain is buzzing with activity, almost like you're awake. But, and this is a key part, your body is temporarily paralyzed. It's a really smart safety feature so you don't actually start running from the monster you're dreaming about. At the same time, your emotional centers are cranked up to 11, while the part of your brain that handles logic, well, it pretty much takes a coffee break. And that's how you get a world where the impossible feels totally, completely normal.
So with our brain in this really unique state, what's the point of it all? Well, scientists have come up with a few really compelling theories. Let's walk through the top 3.
So the first big theory is that dreaming is all about memory. I want you to picture your brain as a librarian at the end of a super busy day. It's just taken in tons of information, sights, sounds, conversations, feelings. Dreaming, in this view, is the librarian staying up late to sort through all of it.
Here's how that filing system seems to work. Your brain sifts through everything that happened. It strengthens the connections for the important stuff, and it tosses out the junk you don't need. This is why you so often dream about something that just happened to you. Your brain is literally in the process of filing it away.
All right, theory number 2 is that our dreams are like our own personal built-in therapist. They basically create a safe little virtual reality where we can process our emotions, especially the difficult ones, without any real-world consequences.
You can think of it like an emotional gym. Dreams help us de-stress from the day, they let us confront our fears in a totally safe space, and they give us a chance to untangle complicated feelings. This totally explains why dreams can feel so intense and emotional. It's because they're literally a workout for our feelings.
Now for a completely different idea. This theory suggests that dreams might not have any deep psychological meaning at all. Instead, think of your brain doing its nightly maintenance, kind of like an engine running diagnostics. It fires off all these random sparks of neural energy. And our conscious mind, which is a natural storyteller, just desperately tries to weave these random signals into some kind of coherent story. And that story is the dream.
So, from this perspective, that dream you had about your goldfish winning an Olympic medal, it isn't some secret message from your subconscious. It's just your brain making a story out of random static. The dream itself is beautiful and strange, but ultimately, it's just a side effect of a healthy brain doing its nightly chores.
So these theories are fascinating, right? But they also bring up some really practical questions we all have about our own dreams. Let's tackle 2 of the biggest ones.
First up, why is it that when we're in a dream, we just completely accept it no matter how weird it gets? We almost never stop and think, hang on a second, my car can't fly. Well, the answer is all about the brain's wiring during REM sleep. Just look at this contrast. The logical, rational part of our brain is turned way, way down. But our emotional centers? They are on full blast. You're basically all feeling and almost no critical thinking. Your brain's internal fact checker is just offline for the night.
And that brings us to the second big question. If these dreams are so vivid and maybe even important, why do they evaporate the second we wake up?
The short answer is, it's totally by design. Your brain has to decide what's important enough to save as a long-term memory. And most dreams, well, they're like mental doodles. They're interesting in the moment, but probably not worth saving forever. So unless a dream is super emotionally powerful, your brain just wipes the slate clean to get ready for the new day. Forgetting your dreams is actually a sign that your mind is working efficiently.
All right, so we've looked at what's happening in the brain. We've gone through the big theories, and we've talked about our own experiences. So what does it all mean? What's the final takeaway on all this?
Here's the bottom line. It doesn't really matter if dreams are for memory, or for emotion, or just for brain maintenance. What matters is that they are all signs of a healthy, incredibly hardworking brain. They show that your mind is busy processing your life, helping you deal with stress, and just generally keeping itself in good working order.
And that really says it all, doesn't it? Dreams aren't just random, meaningless nonsense that happens at night. Science is showing us that dreaming is a fundamental, deeply integrated part of how our minds work. It's a vital process, even if we're not awake to appreciate it. So tonight, when your head hits the pillow, just remember you're not just shutting down for the night. You're actually stepping into your brain's private workshop, a place of memory and emotion and incredible creativity. The only real question is, what's it going to cook up for you tonight?